Hi, I'm Kay, and this is Neuronata Happy Hour. I'm here today with my co-host. I'm here with Kira, and
Hello.
so Kira, you say hello.
Hello.
And we're also here with Kai. I would say Kai, but your name is Kate.
My name is completely different, to be fair. So I go by two names. So on TikTok, I'm quite known as Kai, and mainly because of the actual book. But my actual name is Carol, to be fair.
Okay, so what would you want me to call you today?
Just call me Kai, K, whatever you want. I don't care.
Okay, cool. So we've got you on today to talk about a few things. You just doing all these different things in life. But do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself to start off with, and then we'll start with the questions.
So I'm Kai, whatever you want to call me, to be fair. I got two little boys. Originally, I'm Polish, moved to England in 2009, many years ago now. Stayed in England ever since. I got two little amazing boys from a previous relationship. I do quite a lot of work for the LGBTQI plus community, and I'm one of the co-chairs for that charity too. And I wrote my own book about my experience, really.
Woo! Okay.
What is your favourite part about being an author?
It's using my own words to describe how I'm feeling. So the way I kind of like base my book around is I based my book around my experience and my diaries. So like I have always kept diaries and I always wrote in them. Sometimes I kind of forgot about them and they got shoved into the other side. But like when I was going through like emotions, I would always write down my emotions.
Yeah.
And then when I wanted to actually like share my story, I revisited my own words and I could see the like massive difference the massive difference of like the way I write. So I was like, do you know what? Let me put it into people's like minds and then just write a book. So it's actually using my own words to actually describe the way I'm feeling, if that makes sense. It sounds really cliche, but it makes sense in my head.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what was the hardest thing about being an author and writing a book, but to be fair, I guess you kind of wrote your book without knowing you were going to be writing your book because you did it from your diary.
So the way I've done it is like I wrote those diaries first, and then like that probably the hardest part of me was trying to revisit them. So like when I was reading through them and I was like, wow, that actually happened. Like, yeah, I needed to kind of revisit those memories in order to kind of like pull like, because the way I kind of wrote the book is I pulled different like big events as such from my diaries, and then I put them into a book, and then I described the way I was feeling and everything else. So I think that like revisiting those memories where some of those memories completely shattered my mental health and myself was probably like the difficult part.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I think we've all been in situations where we've been even like scrolling for our Snapchat memories, and you see a time when were going through a tough time and you're just filming yourself, and you're like, oh my god, like I don't even know who that person is.
Yeah, 100%.
And yeah, that hit hard.
Definitely, I've been through that.
I think we've all been there. When you scroll it and you see a photo, you're like, whoa, what's going on here?
And you're sitting there trying to figure out if it's the Snapchat filter or actually you.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay. So we're going to move on to, unless Kira, do you have any other questions about the book as of now? Because we'll come back to it at the end.
No, I don't.
Okay, so obviously, Kai, you have quite a controversial little life going on. Well, you did. So from what I know, you were in a like 6 or 7 year serious relationship.
6, I think it was between like 7 and 8 years, to be fair.
Okay, so you were in a relationship with a woman.
Yeah.
And she's like still to this day like your best friend, which is great. you two had 2 little boys, but then you split up, and that's when you. This is my question basically. Was it when you split up that you realised you were gay, or have you always known that you were gay, or where does that kind of merge into place?
So I hate to put my like sexuality on like a spectrum, if that makes sense.
Yeah, cool.
When I was with the boy's mum, I always knew I find men attractive in some way.
Okay, yeah.
I always knew it, but I never had the actual guts to do anything about it. But mainly because I was in a long-term relationship and I had the boys.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
but then when me and the boy's mum split up, this is where I thought to myself, do you know what? Actually, I need to kind of like experience like living for myself and for no one else. So
Yeah.
this is where I started experimenting with men. Enjoy the experience. And like some people are like, so are you gay, are you bi, or whatever? And I'm like, actually, like I don't even know myself. Like
Yeah.
it's easier for me to say I'm gay, but I technically, if I find you attractive or you are in intelligent enough,
Mm,
like I would go for you no matter sex, gender, whatever.
okay, yeah. So like pansexual, I suppose.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah,
Yeah. Do you fall in love with the human
hundred
because of
percent.
who they are, not?
That's how I look at it. I fall in love with the actual human instead of the sexuality or like gender. Like if I like you and we vibe enough and you respect me and what I do and you respect the boys,
Yeah.
you're winning.
What would you say was the most difficult part about going from, like, obviously being in a long-term relationship with a woman to obviously exploring and obviously not being 100% sure of where you stood, like, with your sexuality?
Getting myself out there, I want to say it's gonna make me sound really bad, but like it was easier than I thought.
Yeah.
However, like there is quite a lot of things that you, as coming out as gay or whatever, you do need to take quite a lot of things into account. I didn't know much about like sexual health and everything else, and like sexual health in gay culture is quite important. So like that
What?
made like it was quite hard for me to learn all of like what you can get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
but then like I learned there was different resources for different things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like yeah, getting myself out there was easy, but then like who would I be able to trust to do something with?
Yeah. It must be obviously difficult to obviously be going into something quite new and the unknown and then not really knowing what to expect or like
Yeah,
what you could catch.
100%. Yeah.
I think it's kind of like as well, you don't. Right, so when you're going about to have sex, you're not like, oh my god, how do I be safe? You don't think about those things because you want to enjoy yourself and you want to enjoy
Yeah.
the. I think it's just
You're enjoying the moment, not thinking
yeah,
about all the
Yeah.
horrible disease.
that's like obviously 99% of like straight couples don't go in thinking, oh yeah, maybe we should be safe because it might end in pregnancy type thing. And then when obviously when it
100%.
does
Yeah.
end in pregnancy, they're like, oh yeah, forgot that was actually
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
literally.
possible.
That's what happens. And like when I like started coming out and like accepting my sexuality, it's like I learned so much about everything. And to be fair, that is hands down to the local clinic. Like I remember going to the clinic and I was like, listen, tell me all about it, like, because I'm clueless.
big up iCash. Was that iCash? Or
Um,
no?
I can't even remember. We called it Luton Sexual Health Clinic here, to be fair. I went in there, booked an appointment. I was like, you need to tell me all about it, like, because I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't know what I can catch. I don't like. I'm clueless. And like this is where the whole like stigma of like going to like a sexual health clinic comes. Like people are embarrassed, but like why should you be embarrassed when you got so much like opportunities and resources to learn?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, they provide free protection as well, don't they?
Yeah.
They provide like free testing.
Yeah.
For women, obviously, I had to have my implant. Well, I had my implant put in there. They do the pill. They do so many things. I will write. Well, our local number is just iCash, and I'm pretty sure iCash is like a
I
national
think
thing.
it's like UK wide, to be fair.
Yeah, so I will put the number for iCash on here. I don't know if we've got any American listeners. If we have, I'm so sorry, I don't know. But I will put the number somewhere.
Obviously, I don't think it should be as stigma. Like, obviously, going to a sexual health clinic, I don't think it should be as stigmatized as it actually is. Like, obviously, there's so many people out there that probably would have had like things would have been better off for them, like they would have been less poorly or stuff like that if they'd have actually felt comfortable enough going to like an iCash, because obviously society has made it so stigmatized and like, oh yeah, you only go there if you've contracted something type thing. But
The
Yeah.
thing
even
is,
then,
like,
it's
I go there quite often. Like, if I haven't had no sexual intercourse, I will still go.
yeah, better to be safe than
Um,
sorry.
The day out in
exactly, yeah.
household.
Did you just say it's a day out in the household?
Yeah. Right. Okay. So obviously, yeah, that's very huge. That's a very interesting matter. I think it should be spoken about more often. But leading on to the job that you had, and obviously I know you've just left that job, so. But do you think that going to like the sexual health clinic and all of those things and finding out about being gay and all of the different things around it, do you think that made it more interesting to you and made you want to be a part of working within Pride?
So I'm still a co-chair for Pride. So I still kind of do it, but it's all voluntary. So none of us get paid for it.
Okay,
So
cool.
we give our time to the charity, which I absolutely adore, to be fair.
Right.
But yeah, so me getting involved with Pride in Luton was probably like a massive eye opener to what is out there for the LGBTQI plus community. Like I learned so much from like the people around me and like from like different like organizations like that were kind of like helping the charity. Like I still enjoy it. I still love it. I still do quite a lot of things for it.
Yeah.
How, obviously, with your little boys being still quite young, how were they obviously with the change and like obviously understanding that it wasn't going to be you and their mum sort of thing together?
I think the way me and the boys' mum raised the boys was very much in a transparent way from the very beginning.
Yeah.
We always said to the boys, whatever sexuality you go for, that is absolutely fine. You are still human. We will still love you the exactly same way as we would love a stray kid, if that makes sense. Like the boys, like when me and the boys' mum like decided to have kids, we both sat down and we did discuss like everything that could come with being parents, and especially at a very young age because we became parents when we were literally turning 20.
Yeah.
100%.
There's an old man who's homophobic and he's in his 70s. He's not going to change. He's been
The thing is,
drilled into him since he's baby. Do you know what I
for
mean?
example, the latest TikTok, I'm sure Kay has seen it. I'm not sure if you have seen it. But yeah, I literally just put it. There is the whole trend of like when COVID kicked off and after COVID.
Yeah, I did
So
see that.
like I had literally just 3 bullet points of I think it was 6 years in the relationship. and then I had two amazing boys, and then miserable as hell. And then on the next slide, I had all the achievements that I have achieved.
Mm.
And like the amount of hate I got for literally just doing that TikTok, it hit like over what, 1K views in a space of like 3 days. And I was like, you know what, like whatever. And yeah, there was massive like influx such of like all the likes and support. But of course, with that, it comes hate.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
had personal messages on Instagram and on TikTok, saying that if they would see me on a street, they would throw acid at my face, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, that's disgusting. That's
I was
really
like,
disgusting.
whatever. Like I don't care. Like it doesn't. That homophobia doesn't phase me at all because like. Yes, there was probably like 10% of hate. However, the 90% was
Mm.
support. And the thing is, I was on TikTok live with Kay yesterday, and there was one guy that joined my live, and then he was in the comments, and he was like, "Your support means a lot," and everything else and everything else. And like me being so open about what I have been through and my sexuality will help someone else out, and that's why I do it.
I think
Yeah.
I think there's like two things. Obviously, I want to say like the first thing is like, is it sometimes you think painful for your ex-partner to see you've put on TikTok like you were miserable when you were in a relationship with her, or were you miserable as in like the life you were living, you weren't happy? Because
So yeah, so I think that like the miserable as hell got
yeah,
taken completely out of context
yeah,
because yeah, I had an amazing. And the thing is, me and the boy's mum, we had an amazing relationship. Like
yeah,
yeah, of course there was arguments, like every single couple, like you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, of course.
but we loved and respected each other. But like, so like many years down the line, like it did fade a lot, and like it was impacting like our mental health. So literally, we sat down and we were like, what the fuck are we actually doing? Like, you could be happy, I could be happy,
Mm.
and we still could be two amazing parents. And like,
Yeah.
I get that I get that quite a lot of couples after they split up, they don't have the healthy co-parenting relationship, but it
Yeah,
all comes down to being mature enough to put your pride aside
Yeah.
and saying, look, both of us made those kids. Let's raise them the way we want them to be raised.
yeah, of
And at
course.
the beginning, yeah, we had arguments, like we were not like the way we are now. But
Mm.
eventually we swallowed our pride, we put our pride aside, and we were like, do you know what? Like, let's do it for the boys.
Yeah, of course. I think that's amazing that you do that. Obviously, the second thing is like, in my opinion, it's not really a question, it's more of an opinion, you can agree or disagree, but I think that if there was less homophobia, there might be less situations like obviously the situation you had. I know that obviously you're happy and you had your sons and that was amazing. However, like, I know situations like the person we had on the live last night, like people who are getting marriages and they know they're gay, but they get in marriages, they might cheat on their wife, they might have
That's a
kids.
lot. But like, there's a lot of celebrities now out there, like that
That
have come out after God knows how many years, and like obviously, I think if there wasn't homophobia, there'd be a lot more people being openly like
openly gay.
discussing.
I
Yeah.
think that. Do you think that maybe this is crazy, but sometimes do you wonder if sometimes it is down to just the men? Because I have never ever ever told my partner it's not okay to cry, it's not okay to feel down, it's not okay to feel what you feel. But when you see another like manly man being like, "Oh no, man up, mate, man up," and it's like, no,
To be
I
fair,
think
half of those come from toxic masculine. What's the word? Toxic.
masculinity.
masculinity.
Yeah, yeah, literally. Like the thing is, it's like me and my brother. I love my younger brother to bits. Like he pops into my lives every now and then and everything else. Like he fully supports me, but he has different views and I have different views.
Okay.
Like we will never clash because we respect each other's views. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he is doing his bit, I'm doing my bit. Like, I'm proud of him, he's proud of me, etc., etc. But like, it is the way a person is being brought up. However, if you are being brought up in a toxic environment,
Yeah.
it is your choice either to get out of it or stay with it.
Yeah.
And that's the
I was
same with
brought
obviously
up.
toxic.
I was brought up in a toxic environment, and it was my choice
Hey, Nala, sorry.
if I gonna treat people the way my family would have wanted me to treat them, or am
Yeah.
I gonna treat them according to my heart and my brain? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's obviously like what I was asking is like when you were a child, did you know that you were gay or no?
Yes.
Do you think
Well,
that your views, your parents' views, and like whoever's views around you, do you think that tainted your view of what you wanted in life and made you kind of, you know, be in a relationship that obviously you weren't 100% in? Does that make sense? I know
so
you were.
with me actually coming from another country than UK, it is very much different the way I was brought up.
Yeah, okay.
So like, the way you would view a Polish man is he goes to work, he supports the family, etc., etc., etc. Like, he dresses in a certain way. He doesn't dress in like the way I would dress now. So like, I always knew I was a little bit different. So I always tried to fit in to
Oh,
the
yeah.
criteria that was set by my upbringing and my family.
Yeah.
And like, I was never into football, but I
No.
still done football to show that, oh yeah, I'm a macho man, I can play football. I attended ballet classes, I really did, and loved ballet more than football. And
Yeah.
that was my kind of escape. But yeah, it's literally that it all comes down to like the way you was brought up. But at the end of the day, it is your choice if you're going to carry on or you're going to completely change.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
I think obviously the men being told that obviously not to cry, make like grow a pair of balls, blah blah blah. I think that also is influenced by like toxic relationships as well. Like I know there's people out there that have been in like abusive relationships, whether it be physical or verbal, but I think that also plays a part.
So in true neuroneta style, obviously we don't have to. We don't have to if you really don't want to, but we would like to talk obviously about your mental health a little bit because that is what we're here for.
Yeah.
To kind of teach people it's okay to have mental health days, it's okay, and you know your best coping mechanisms. Do you still have down days? All of those kind of things. Obviously, we'll let you talk, and then if we've got any questions, we will interrupt you. Or Kira will just
So,
go, "Oi, shut up."
Kira's not that mean. Don't give her too much credit.
at the well, to be fair, like, my mental health is like up and down anyway.
Okay.
But it has been like, I want to say like the last 2 months, it has been more on the lower side than usual, purely because I got so occupied with working, and then like I completely kind of lost myself.
Yeah.
So like, the way I would kind of deal with it is like, if I'm going through something, I would throw myself at work. I would keep my mind
Yeah.
occupied. But then I would eventually know that at some point it's gonna catch up.
Yeah, of course.
So like, yeah, I went through like a complete like burned out stage where I was like, do you know what? Like, I'm not leaving the house. Like, and I remember like my best friend, she was like, oh yeah, let's do this, let's do that, let's do that. And I kept cancelling. I was like, look, I can't. I'm not feeling
No.
it. I'm not feeling
Yeah.
it. I'm not feeling it. But then like before I even came out, like I was fine, but I was keeping myself occupied with work once again. And then like when I came out, it got a little bit more easier. However, the whole struggle of me coming out to my friends, me coming out to my friends was easy. But
Yeah.
me coming out to my family was more difficult because this is where it impacted my mental health even more.
Yeah, of course. I think it's just like that paranoia as well of, you know,
Yeah,
when you have to tell someone something and you're with them and you just want to tell them so bad, but it might not be the right time, you might be too nervous,
100%.
all these things.
But like since me coming out, I remember the first, I think like 2 weeks before I came out, I signed up to therapy,
Yeah.
and then throughout that like year of after me coming out, I literally had therapy probably like twice a week.
Yeah, which is wonderful. We love therapy.
Like I love going to therapy. Like, I reckon like every single person, I don't care what you say, you need to go to therapy
Oh yeah.
because you learn so much about yourself and your past traumas and how to deal with it.
Mm.
And like, oh sorry, like I think if I wouldn't go to therapy, I would be in a complete different mindset now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. And the thing is, yeah, I get dark days, I really do.
Yeah.
But I would it's gonna sound really fucking cocky, but like I always wake up,
Mm.
I look in the mirror and I was like, do you know what? Like you're gonna have a fucking good day today. Like I always say that no matter how low I'm feeling, but like is spread a little bit of positivity into your head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Um
love a bit of what's it called?
Positive affirmation.
That's the one.
Yeah, so like I will always like wake up. Like I don't care if I'm looking like a drenched rat. Like I will still look in the mirror, I'll be like, do you know what? Like you look great. You're gonna have a fucking good day today. Um, because there's sometimes you need to come out of those. You need to come out of your comfort zone. Sometimes it is difficult to kind like. I will have very quiet days. Like I don't want to leave the house, but then like I know my like limit where I need to where I need to push myself
Mm.
because I'm gonna end up in a bigger hole than I am already.
Yeah, of course. I think that is. Yeah, I love that. Do you do positive affirmations and stuff like that? Do you do those things with your sons?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
So
wonderful.
like I always so the thing is the way like whenever I have them or like Becca has them, but the thing is we have a very much similar um parenting styles.
Mm.
Like the boys know like yeah, you can have a bad day, you can cry, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Like if you want to cry, you cry away. I'm always here. If you get angry, let's talk about it.
Yeah. The blessing of having a child, you really are. You can create that human into whatever you want, and they could be a really positive, loving human.
100%, yeah.
You know, there can be situations where you could make a child into literally the worst human ever.
Yep.
Mm.
Like obviously on my my medical TikTok page, I've done like the unhinged things that she's come out with, and one of them is going to top all of them, and it will be her saying to me that if she was ever stole by a bad guy, I'd be completely useless. And I asked her why, because she said I'd be having a seizure the whole time.
You see,
Right.
like the thing is, I love like kids that have no filter. Like
Yeah.
with the boys, like the younger twin, he is very mature for his age.
Mm.
However, he doesn't have no filter. Like he will tell you as it is.
Good. I love that. I
He'd be
love that.
like, "Daddy, your hair looks rubbish today," and I'd be like, okay, I'll go fix it now."
Yeah,
Thank
like
you.
sometimes they make me literally want to cry. Like children in general. Like there's been times my sister's been like, "You look rough," and I'm like, "Fuck."
Thanks.
Yeah.
Literally, what the hell? So obviously it's neurodivergent. Well, not neurodivergent anymore. We're neuronata now. But it is the happy hour, so we do film for an hour. So obviously we want to talk a little bit about your book. Guys, this is being clipped. This is being clipped.
Do you mean this one?
Yeah, that book. Wait, can I make you on bigger screen or no? Probably not.
I don't know how it works, so.
So we're gonna do a little bit of. Here you go. I don't want to be the bigger. No.
You don't want to be the big one. Don't forget, we've got to do the most neurodivergent thing of the week.
Yes, we have got to do that, which I'll have to edit and put to the first bit. But we'll talk about the book first. Obviously, you're the only one on the screen now, Kai. Hope you enjoy that little bit of moment by yourself. So we have a bit of the book. So can you please tell us a bit about the book and then read your piece that you were going to read? Thank you.
Oh, exciting.
It will be quiet. Be quiet.
To be fair, as I mentioned, this book is pretty much my diary and hopefully a lighthouse for someone else that needs it. So this is the first draft that I printed. The second draft was a little bit more difficult because I needed to take some bits out and then put it back in and etc. etc. And then the third one is the final one.
Kai?
Am I back?
Yeah.
Fabulous. I had a phone call. Yeah, so this is not the final draft, but I have the final draft, which is going to be printed next month. So it has 3 different sections. It's coming out, backstory to something greater, and not me forgetting this third section of my own book. Anyway, let's skip that, okay? Yes, coming out
October the 4th.
Story to something greater.
I think you talk about the titles.
Oh.
Coming out, story to something greater. I actually can't remember. Anyway, let's move apart. So the way it's kind of like based. So it's the first 3 to 4 chapters is mainly about me packing away to Greece. So Greece has always been my like safe haven that I always like dreamed of going, and I never been on a solo adventure myself. So I decided to book Greece to kind of like escape the real world. So the first 3 chapters is literally just Greece based, and then like from the 3rd chapter onwards, it kind of splits into memories. So the first ever boyfriend I had, it goes into not much detail, but it goes into like a whole situation of me and him. And then it goes into me coming out, and then like a whole relationship between my family and everything else. It does touch up on some eating disorders as well, which I have. And then it kind of goes into me finally accepting who I am, and then slowly learning how to live with myself and by myself. Because I always thought that I need to find love quite quickly, which I always had like a relationship after a relationship after a relationship. But then like I noticed that I'm actually so much better off alone at the moment anyway. Like I'm not looking. Like yeah, all the relationships that I had, they taught me a lesson. They really did. So I kind of know what to look for whenever I decide to look for someone. But yeah, so it does catch up on a lot of like dark subjects, and like my family like relationships, and then it has a short brief chapter about the boy's mum and the boys, and then it kind of like finishes off quite quick because The only reason I decided to do a short chapter on them is because some of those memories I would rather not share. I would rather keep them close to my heart because they are mine and the boys' memories and everything else. So like, I don't want strangers to read everything, which I am quite open with the I'm quite open about my like darkest secrets as such in the book. But there was like certain like relationships that I had, I'll rather keep them quiet. Not because I don't want them like have a spotlight or whatever, but like I'll rather keep those memories just to my heart and my brain. And then it kind of like goes through the whole week. And yeah, so 3 chapters of me going to Greece, and then a few chapters of me coming out and like when I was growing up back in Poland. And then the last few chapters is actually the experience that I had in Greece. So within that book, there's not even one lie in there. Like, it's literally as brutal as possible. But yeah, that's pretty much it. To be fair,
You don't want to be the big one again. There we go.
So, right, my question is are you going to do another book? Like, do you think, obviously, I know that the first book isn't lies, but do you think there would be a way that maybe if, you know, your life didn't have another interesting trip around, you know, your, like, if you say you ended up actually finding a guy, you settled down, it became not boring, but there wasn't like thrill like for a book, do you think you would take, is it the Something Under the Lamppost?
and the lamppost, the marathon's boy's journey. So
Do you think you would take the Marathon Boy and create a second book that would be fiction?
no. So I had a choice either to go with a publisher and self-publish. But because I'm going into very like raw emotional subjects in that book, I knew me going to the publishers, they will try to airbrush the raw parts of it.
Yeah.
And I didn't want them to touch my story at all. So that's why I kind of decided to self-publish it, because I know me writing it with my own words is raw as possible. Would there be another thing going on? Yes.
Oh, what queen?
Yes, there will definitely be another thing going on at the very end of the book. I split. So I write a letter to Greece, and then I actually say, should I read it to you?
Yes.
So the last paragraph is, I leave you now, but I will return. I will come back not as a visitor, but as someone ready to call you home. Until then, my heart remains here with you in every olive grove, every sunlit street, every whispering wave. Thank you for everything. And that's how the book is finishing. So yes, there will be definitely another part, but I'm not sure when.
It's definitely something to look forward to, though.
Yeah, 100%.
Part of your next book could be Greece responding to you, being like, I'm so happy you've returned, and then you can explain how things have been since you brought the book out and all that. It's kind of like Zoella's book, isn't it? Isn't Zoella?
I never read it, so
Remember, like, people being like, "Oh, this is."
Yeah, because she had like 4 books out, didn't she?
Should we talk about the book? Have you got anything else you would like to say?
if you have any questions, shoot them.
The only one, I only had one left over, and I was
Go on.
waiting for us to talk about the book again. So obviously I know you've said that there's going to be something a bit later on, you don't know when, but can you give us any insight into like future plans, maybe like goals you want to achieve?
The future plan, to be fair, when I wrote this book, I had one idea in mind. Actually, I had two ideas. If someone would read my story and they will change the perspective of the way they think about themselves, I made it. If a mum or a dad reads my story and they change the perspective of the way they think about the gay child, I've made it.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't write this book for no personal gain at all. I wrote this book to teach someone that is actually, it's okay to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's okay to be a little bit spontaneous. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Did that kind of answer your question?
Yes, it did.
Half of the book income is going to charity, isn't it?
Yes.
Wow.
Hi, you're so nonchalant. These are things you have to mention to everyone.
What charity is it going towards?
So it's going to, for every book sold, half of that money will go to charity, which is Pride and Luton, the charity that I work with now.
Yeah.
They do amazing stuff for the LGBTQI plus community. And they have been quite a big part of me becoming who I am now. So yeah.
It would be huge for two things to happen. First thing I can imagine was like you doing talks at like schools.
Yeah.
Being like, hi, I'm Kai. I was in a straight relationship and, now here I am. Also, I think your book would be amazing as a stage performance. I would go and watch that stage.
I did actually have quite a lot of my friends are like, what if it gets turned into a movie? And I'm like, if it gets turned into a movie, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But I will need to make sure that everything is truthful to every single word that I wrote.
I just think, imagine how cool it would be like. We've already spoken about this on the live where I said that the stage performance could start with literally like a spotlight and someone stood underneath a lamppost.
Yeah.
And
That would be pretty cool.
I'm excited to read this book. I don't think it's due till October, but whatever.
So the thing is like, I had quite a few questions about the title because the title is in two different fonts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if you look at it, like there's Under the Lamppost, and then the marathon's boy's journey. So like the thing is, I do quite a lot of running. So like I chose running as my escape from my mental health, the way I kind of deal with things, and then I eventually started running because it was relaxing. So like I think that Under the Lamppost has a lot of backstory into certain situations that happen within this book.
Yeah.
I always go quite deeply into like description of like light, and like everything else in there. Under the marathon, so like I would say that Under the Lamppost represents my past, and the Marathon's Boy's Journey represents the future. So like that's why I kind of decided to kind of like switch the titles around, because like if you look at a book, normally a book is like 2 words, that's it, like the title of it, but mine is actually like a full-on like sentence.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
not a
your
lot
audio is
of
gone.
people don't. What?
Her audio is going on my phone.
Still working on it.
I know, now I can hear you.
Maybe the screen works.
But yeah,
Wonderful. I absolutely love it. Obviously, we're going to finish the podcast now because obviously we've done our hour.
Indeed.
I've actually got 2 hours of editing today because Kira will be so delighted to know we're going to have drama on the podcast today.
I love drama.
Yeah, me too.
I dread to think what drama he's going to bring with this drama, but you know.
I asked him the sources and things he deals with to put on my list, and he said, obviously, dramatic disorder. I was like, perfect.
No surprise there.
So the last thing I'm going to end with today is, I think, Kira, do you want to take it away? What do we do on the pod every single time?
The most neurodivergent thing we've done this week.
Yeah, because obviously me and Kira, we version. So I'm going to start.
What, I start? So mine will have to be the fact that me and Dom, my other half, anyone obviously want him,
Sorry!
is we went out shopping the other day and I was carrying he was carrying my rucksack. What I'd completely forgotten was the magnets for my vagus nerve stimulator were in the rucksack. So every single shop we went in, the security system kept going off. And neither of us could figure out why. We were checking all the stuff we'd bought for security tags, this, that, and the other. It wasn't until we got home that I remembered the magnets were in the rucksack, and that was what was setting off the security system.
Oh no!
I saw him on the bus on the way with Gee, my partner, way to Gee's mum's, and he was like, "Oh, you'll never guess what happened today. Kira forgot she had her magnets, and every alarm was going off." He was really, really stressed.
But the thing is, I've got to have them magnets on me for the rest of my life once this is turned on Friday. So it's just going to go off every single time I go in a fucking shop.
Okay, so my most neurodivergent thing I've done this week is, Kira told me how to do this one. We obviously have meetings before we have people on. And I was saying to Kira a little bit background about Carl. He's this really, really lovely guy, you know. He used to be straight, and then he came out straight, and she was like, "Came out straight." I've done this week, and I kept saying it as well. Or he was gay, you know. He had a woman partner, you know. He was gay, and then he came out straight, and it just kept. I just kept saying it wrong, and I was like, "For fuck's sake."
Nothing will ever be your nonce epileptics last week.
Oh my god. Yeah, I wrote down Kira's background for her, and I put nonce epileptic.
Apparently my seizures detect nonsense, but you know.
So Kai, have you done anything this week where you're like,
well, it's only Monday.
It's only Monday.
Last week then.
I like to organise my diary into colours.
Oh, beautiful.
That does sound nice.
Look at my next pod.
Yeah, literally, like my diary is very organised by colours, and like that I have like a traffic light system where like there is red, yellow, and green. So like the things that I need to do urgently, which is red, yellow, I'm like, okay, I can do them later on, and then green, I can do them whenever. So like I go through like a traffic light system throughout the day.
I love that.
That sounds very organised. I feel like I need to do that because I forget my head. Like I forget my head if it wasn't screwed on.
I love it.
Like honestly.
Is normally like, oh, today I walked into a wall, and guys, like, I have a really beautiful diary. It's very organised. I love that. We'll have fun, Kai. I'm sorry if we were a bit hectic, and now here.
I loved it.
Yeah, I'm so
this
happy.
This is my first official one as a host. So
well, you did great.
Thank you.
You've got the job.
Way.
Out.
I've still got to try and survive Rodrigo's podcast yet, which he'll probably be talking about the fact that I used to throw glues and scissors at him.
I've got to start your Burke.
Anytime.
Now we've got to go and do another.
Have fun.
And when you're all rich and famous, we'll have you back on the pod.
All right. Let's manifest now, yeah?
Yeah.
I'll have a sleep and hopefully putting that Nero in our pajamas.
Yes.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it was wonderful having you on. Thank you for joining us. I hope
Anytime. Thank you very much. You did great. Have a good podcast later on as well. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Enjoy the editing. Bye.
Bye.